Edison. You going out to the Coon picnic today?
Indeed I is. I got a good job waiting on the table.
Well, that's good. I'm going out on that same job myself. But what time did you arrive this morning?
I arrived at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.? What does that a.m. mean?
Lazy nigger.
You certainly am a lazy nigger. The sun was up 2 hours before that time.
Yes, but the sun goes to bed long before I do.
But they tell me you left the Hackberry Hotel. Is that so?
Why wouldn't I leave it with all them foolish people and cranks up yonder?
Well, tell me something about it.
Well, you see, there was a wall-eyed roofer on the 6th floor, wanted to know if he couldn't have his dinner served in his room. And when I told him he could, he ordered me to bring him a plate of wet soup, some butterfly tongues, a camel's hump stewed in goat milk, a package of 5 cigarettes, a broiled liver pad, a Vaseline omelet, a pair of frog legs on crutches, and an empty cup of coffee.
Why, my, he couldn't have felt light in the stomach after eating all that.
Oh, but I bet he felt light in his head when he ordered it. But that wasn't all. An hour afterwards, an old maid rang the bell. And when I came to her room, she pointed to a pair of trousers that was lying on the sofa.
And what did the old maid say when she pointed to the trousers?
She said, take them out and have them filled.
Why, no wonder you left that hotel. But I had a funny coincidence too last week.
What was that?
You know that rich Mrs. Brown what lives up on the hill?
See, that does know, sir.
Well, I met her at the post office last Tuesday morning. She said she was going to give a dinner that evening, but all her servants had left without notice. She asked me if I wouldn't go up and help her out. I told her I would. So on the way up to the house, she said, James, did you ever notice anything peculiar about my left eye? I said, yes, Mrs. Brown. I noticed you had a watery eye. She said, yes, James. The doctors call that cycloplectus of the optimistic nerve.
Oh, that's scandalous.
Every little while, my eye fills with water, runs out to the end of my nose, and forms there in a large drop. Half of the time, I don't know it's there, and it's very embarrassing. Now, James, when the guest is seated for dinner this evening, and you see that drop on the end of my nose, remind me of it. But be careful. Don't say Mrs. Brown does a drop on the end of your nose. Just say, Mrs. Brown, Jones is at the door. I know what you mean, and I'll remove it. So that night when I had served the soup, I noticed a drop on Mrs. Brown's nose. I called out very softly, Mrs. Brown, Jones is at the door, but she was busy eating the soup and paid no attention to me. I then called a little louder, Mrs. Brown, Jones is at the door, but she still kept right on eating that soup and paid no attention. Then I bawled right out, Mrs. Brown, Jones is at the door. She turned around and said, James, did you speak? Yes, I did, Mrs. Brown. I said Jones was at the door, but he ain't there now. He's in the soup. Why, I laughed so loud they heard us away up in the sky. Down in the east and the grind arise, up there in the sky. Light and shine and the shimmer's high, up there in the sky. Whiny the mice and mills, up there in the sky. Old Gentiles and the Jews, up there in the sky. Little big front and the chicken and sneeze, violent pets and the dead with trees. Power beats the fry and die, up there in the sky. There is trains and